In light that the clerk and deputy clerk are not here, the esteemed gentleman to my right will be the acting recording secretary tonight. And if you would call the roll, sir.
Duncan.
Here.
Grundon.
Here.
Saylor.
Here.
Mansell.
Here.
Mitchell.
Here.
Bingham.
Here.
Zerflu, president.
Here.
All present.
Okay, and if everybody would rise for Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous board meeting held on July 14th, 2020. Duncan, motion, second?
Second.
Second by Grundon. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We don't have any public here. Is there anybody on the telephone that would like to make any comments on tonight's agenda? And repeating one last time, anybody out in telephone land that is attending this meeting, is there anyone that would like to comment on tonight's agenda? Hearing no requests, we'll move into President's report, and tonight we're going to have the election of Vice President, and Colonel Bosworth will be running that. And remember that you can nominate yourself. All nominations do not need a second, and it is by simple majority to be elected. And at this point, I will dismiss myself as per ordinance and policy and turn the meeting over to the Colonel.
So behind your nameplates, there's 2 blank pieces of paper. Anyone need any pens? We all got good on pens. So do we have any floor nominations, either of yourself or another individual for the position of Vice President?
I would nominate Jared Grundon.
Grundon. You accepting?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I would nominate Eric Saylor.
Taylor? You accept, sir?
Sure.
Okay. We have 1 nominated. Anyone else? Either self. If yourself, you want to nominate yourself, that's fine too. All right, so we have 1 person in the running, but you still can vote for whoever you want to vote for. So by ballot, just fill out the name of the individual. Mr. Saylor has been nominated, so he is actively seeking it. But anyone else could be placed in there?
I would
Yeah.
nominate
Oh.
Dana.
Oh, Mr. Duncan, all right.
So
We
you
have
turn
2
it down?
nominations.
Yeah,
She turned it down. She
Oh,
didn't
I
wanna
didn't,
put-
I
Yep,
missed that.
sorry,
I'm
sorry.
But
Yeah.
thank you, John.
So we have 2 actual nominations from the floor, Mr. Saylor, Mr. Duncan, for Vice President. Just fill out the names, and I will collect the ballots.
Wow. I'm so disappointed in you. You know, Harris today, you could have been, you know,
That
female
would have been-
vice president.
So this reminds me of an old story. I had a guy I worked with who was in law school with Joe McCarthy. They were both running for law school class president, and McCarthy won by 1 vote. And Charlie Curran was the guy. He says, "Oh, Joe, good thing we each didn't vote for ourselves because we would have ended up in a tie." McCarthy says, "Well, I didn't vote for anybody but myself."
Well, of course. And why not?
Well, just like that historical commentary, we do have, we have a winner for Vice President position for Saylor. 4 votes, 2 for Duncan. Sir, do you accept the nomination of Vice President?
Sure.
Okay, our new Vice President.
Bravo.
Oh.
Mr. President, you can return.
Ooh.
Vice President Saylor, sir.
Pardon, sir?
Vice President Saylor is your new Vice President. Turn the floor back to you, sir.
Okay, while I was in the back room, has anybody been back in the committee room recently? I've been gone, of course. I think Bozic needs a attaboy for all the materials that are there. If you want a moment someday, kids are bothering you at home or anything like that, you go back there, everything is organized and ready and rearing to go, so, it's good
getting
to,
there, it's getting there.
especially if you're a chair of a committee, you'll have everything there to study out and important things like budget preparation and stuff like that, so. Thank you, sir. Okay, that's enough compliments for you.
All right.
If we have budget coming up, might have to give them a raise.
Slow
All
down.
right, pardon me, ma'am?
Slow down.
Slow down, okay. Breathing too fast, am I? Item 7, A as in Adam Airport Commission. They met on the 7th of August, 2020. And I will turn this back over to you, Colonel Boz.
We do not have, if you notice your packets, page numbers, top right corner, we did not receive their actual minutes from the meeting last Friday. Major topics discussed was partnership, continued partnership with Rapids, and for legal coverage and liability coverages, and discussion of an opening day ceremonial cutting of the ribbon cutting as noted there. So they decided on 3 September. They're gonna do it right after their board meeting on the, at the runway there. And, they're just looking for community involvement. They will be inviting all board members of all the community boards and city boards. So you should see something in the mail that comes out. I am trying to see if our fire department could be available to, send either a, water cannon type equipment or something. They wanna bring a plane in, land, shoot some water, that type of stuff. They wanna make it a little bit more sexier than it, usually has been, so they will do a ribbon cutting there, so, we'll see what we can provide, if anything, but they're just happy, it's just gonna be small drinks, cookies, nothing too fancy on their part, but they would like some community involvement, to show them the projects, show the community the runway expansion programs and that type of stuff, so, that's all.
You'll be the official rep for.
I'll be there, sure, yes, sir.
I have a meeting that day at the courthouse.
Yep.
Okay, 7B is in boy, CERT committee, Chairman Mitchell.
Yes, sir. We met on the 21st of July, and there were a few items of discussion. We talked about the money that's left from the legacy grant for the splash pad, and we've got about $16,000 left, so, after we paid for the sprinklers, so the plan is to build a 20 by 20 foot pavilion. So that will hopefully close out that account, use up all of that $100,000. We also had a discussion on the size of cemetery monuments, and that's an ongoing issue that we will continue to discuss and come to agreement on. We also had discussion on a veterans memorial, to be put, or to possibly be put in at the cemetery, including flag poles and markers and so forth, and some walkways as well into the area that sort of exists now. Under the Department of Public Works, what did we talk about? We talked about, the first siren that we have bought, and it's going to be put in at Ripple Creek Park. And is that in yet?
Just started with the electrical, no poles going up yet, so we just got the electrical side progressing,
Okay.
yes.
Good, so between fields 1 and 2,
Yep.
that will be put there. We also talked about Rangeline Road, which has been surfacing a few times now and will continue to be part of a discussion also. They are doing, or I think have completed actually, a vehicle count on Rangeline Road. So we're gonna be talking about that too, and what that count may indicate. We also talked about a second siren, using TIF funds to pay for that, which is gonna be about $22,000. And all of that can come out of the TIF fund because it's going to be placed, at the fire department, and that comes within the TIF district, so we can use TIF funds for that. So having said that, we also had a discussion about 3rd Street improvements, and they're talking about, Public Works is talking about moving that up, higher on the priority list for next year, so. Okay, so going back to the siren, I move that we use up to $22,000 of TIF funds to purchase a second siren from American Signal through Northway Communications to be located at the fire station.
Second.
Okay, motion by Chairman Mitchell to authorize the purchase of a second warning siren utilizing TIF funds of no more than $22,000 for installation before 31 December 2020. That will be located at the Port Edwards Fire Department. Do I have a second? Trustee Bingham? Okay. Discussion.
For clarification, so we have American Signal putting in this first one. They're doing okay. All right, I'll leave it at that. What I would like.
What a ringing endorsement.
What I would like to, the only a slight adjustment is that we know the max is gonna be the same price from an American Signal, $22,000. We do have a very competent second vendor that if we see American Signal does not come to fruition, meet the timelines, do what we're asking of them, then if you authorize the up to, we can go forward without having to do a whole separate meeting and assign the second contract to the second vendor in line. Meets all the criteria. I would just offer that just based on the performance of the current vendor. I would just offer that for just comfort.
Thank you for that addendum.
Would you like to amend the motion then and not include the vendor in the motion, just motion it?
I don't think it's necessary based on what Boz just said. Feelings, Dana?
I think the motion is specifically purchase a second warning siren
Right.
utilizing TIF funds of no more than $22,000. No mention of vendor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and
So
I
that's if the
added-
motion reads in the, agenda, but she read it from
I
her
read it
notes.
from my notes.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, okay, so shall I go back and?
In the CERC, you're exactly right, we specified it, but I've seen now 2 weeks worth of their performance, and I'm just not too keen.
Oh.
Tonight's agenda is what we go by
Can we
at
go,
this meeting.
okay, that's the official, all right, good, then
And then I just wanna clarify it's over by the salt shed is where it's gonna go, right? Behind the fire
Yeah,
station?
in the back corner, yep.
Okay, thanks for that.
And if they don't come through in which you explained, you will be spearheading that?
Yes, the second person, the second vendor is able to perform within the 60-day window. The TIF account is exactly right there. It's over 1.1 million as of now, untouched. So I think it's an appropriate use, because just like the 3rd Street, if we can start doing the periphery and start sprucing up that property, then as we move forward with DMI, we're able to showcase it rather than it be a blight with everything around it being a blight, so.
Okay, answers my question. Continue, Madam Chair. Or we gotta vote, don't we? Is there any more discussion? I had a
Can someone
momentary
reread the
lapse of a
motion?
big muskie, I'm sorry.
Anybody got a gift coupon for Prodigen, the stuff that helps memory?
I'm depressed on the vice presidential pick tonight, so I'm forgetting a lot of things. Anyway, all those in favor of the motion on the second siren, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
And just to clarify, it is the one printed on the agenda, not the one I read,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
That it? Chairman Mitchell, is that it?
I'm sorry, yes, that is it.
Alrighty, Chairman Grundon, Public Safety.
We met August 4th, we had a pretty uneventful meeting. The biggest point of discussion was Lexipol and the progress on that. Chief Arndt for the fire department has a team to go through the policies as they update them, and Chief Drew is handling it for the police department, and they both say it's going well so far. So that's it for us. Our next meeting is September 1st.
Okay, and then just a clarification, to change the spelling on Chief Arndt's name. He's A-R-E as in Edward, N-D-T.
Where's that in error?
What are you looking at?
It's in your minutes, just to let you know.
Minutes.
Are you
Item
kidding me,
7,
Betsy?
third and final line. Lexipol is moving forward at the station and Chief aren't.
We'll blame it on Kim.
I've been with her too long, I can't blame anything on her. Okay, anything else here?
No, that's it.
Okay, pit committee, Chairman Duncan.
You've had a chance to review our minutes. There's some updates. I'm not gonna get into those. One matter was tabled. Hopefully that'll be back. We don't need to really do anything in regards to masks because of the governor's mandate. We have one motion to approve the update of the Chapter 1 General Government Chapter of the Village Ordinances, and I'd move approval of that.
Okay, motion by Chairman Duncan. On the motion as read, do I have a second? Second by Trustee Mansell. Discussion. Everybody's pretty well familiar with those
Yeah,
changes.
pretty cut and dry. Just administrative update. You all approved the last changes last month. We just cleaned up the whole chapter, got rid of all the reds, so now this starts a fresh chapter in our ordinance book. That's all.
Okay. Hearing no requests to speak, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And there was one item that was not on our agenda that was brought to us. I had no problem with it just being brought directly to the board tonight on the agenda, so that's it for that.
Okay, continue on, sir.
And then FHR, again, really not much to discuss there either. Guess we'll move approval of the bills and journal entries.
Second?
Okay, motion by Chairman Duncan, second by Trustee Grundon to approve payment of the monthly bills and journal entries of the previous month. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business from previous meetings. This isn't from a previous meeting, but how did the reference the mask resolution, how did the discussion go on that?
We talked for a few minutes and decided we didn't need to do anything because of the governor's order.
Okay,
If, when it expires on September 30th, if we deem we are gonna at least look at the possibility of having an ordinance in place so that if we wanna impose one in the future, we can. But other than that, that's just where it's gonna be.
So in your packet is the draft.
Yep.
Standing by, when you all say execute, we can if we need to.
new business.
I actually have something.
Yes.
With the potential issues with the U.S. Postal Service and for a prospect of having absentee ballots, I would like to have the village look into the feasibility of having a drop point,
I think that's an excellent idea.
like a box or something like that, where people, instead of putting them in the mail, can just drop them in to the box, so that we're not further cluttering the postal service.
A lot of the big cities are doing that. Feel free.
Isn't there payment box, isn't that out there? I never pay attention to it,
Yeah.
never
I don't
use
think
it.
I don't
is
think
one.
they'll
Would be
fit in
big
there.
enough.
Well,
Yeah.
probably not, but I'm thinking, could we attach it next to?
Yeah, we can formalize it.
whatever?
Great point. So for this election, we've had 275 absentee votes come in, all recorded, all dropped off, either mail or dropped off in person. I think we can get the word out by our village site, as well as some Facebook postings, that we would just highlight a direct drop-off in the office would be the best. Is that, most people know it, but we haven't formalized it. So we can do that, because we're very comfortable on the amount of absentee ballots. They've been verified as soon as they come in. Diane checks it. So I'm very comfortable that we're not having a lot of shady business.
Well, I'm expecting this to be a really large turnout in general, and I think we may wanna look at the feasibility of having some sort of a box or something where
Sure.
people can just drive right through and
Okay,
plop it in, outside of normal business hours.
gotcha.
Well, somebody in Washington made the statement that he has no problem with absentee ballots with the mail and stuff. he thinks that there could be a lot of problems with that. Aren't they the same?
Virtually.
Yes, John?
Yeah.
You can also go to, I think it's myvote.com or org to verify. In this last election, I just did it for grins and giggles to know that I did absentee. And I forget exactly the website. The other thing I was thinking about exactly, you know, I think there's gonna be a lot more drop-offs because of people's concern, whether it's real or imagined. And I'm even thinking about, you know, I think one time when Diane was involved in census or something, we said, hey, if you have to go above and beyond with meetings, we'll take, you know, we'll compensate you for that. And that may be something we need to, at least in the back of our minds, with her and Kim, to make sure that we can handle, and I think we can. We may even look at a temporary person, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking globally. I know Port Edwards, I don't know what the total, probably the total ballots be around 700. Isn't that what?
1,200 registered voters.
But I think the elections, unless, I could be wrong.
Our highest point was 58%.
Yeah.
So that'd be about 7, yeah, so, yeah, and I think, Dana brings up a good point. We're just a small, but you know, I think it's important that we maintain the integrity of what's going on.
Sure.
Well, if there's no objection from the board, I think we can just give tacit permission right now to the administrator with the stipulation that this all goes through our election person, and that's Diane.
Check.
If that's okay with everybody.
That's fine.
You guys would make a good team, boss.
Yes.
Okay, you're taking Diane's stuff tonight too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Report from the village administrator, number 10 and 11 will be taken together because he's also taking care of Diane's motions.
So, starts on page 30. I'm not gonna read it, you all had time to read it, and if you have any questions, I'll definitely address it, but I'll just highlight some of the big things. Obviously, elections, road work projects, a lot more police enforcement, now we have 5 on duty. We've issued a directive to support the state emergency, so that's going well. No issues from businesses as well as residents or complaints in our shelters or anything, so no big deals there. Passed some correspondence over to the president concerning Verso. They're offering of some additional, what was it? Not benefits, but for stock shares. I don't know. That's tied to what they've offered, but tied to what we had a meeting with the Rapids and the state. I gave the dislocated workers website that is at open access to anyone that needs assistance or any programs, and that's at legis.wisconsin.gov at Rapids Together. So that's a Rapids initiative, working with a lot of interagency partners that you can direct any constituents to if they're needing any assistance. And we're still tracking a rough number of 40 to 55 directly impacted by the closure. Obviously, it may creep up if we start hearing more. Human resources, I'll just note, we're doing well on execution of the payroll budget. You see there, 64% of our payroll budget has been executed. That is a big chunk of the village budget. We talked about the 4 projects. The water tower finishes it up. The alley project should finish up this week. Random curb, gutter, and sidewalk projects will start finishing and commencing the next few weeks. We've identified some sidewalks that residents have requested some assistance on over the months. If you get any direct calls, please inform us and we can direct the team to go there as well. And then the county's taking on the Seneca Road project. I have no issues with that.
I have an
Sir,
issue with that.
You have an issue, yes, sir.
I've noticed some of the dump trucks that are delivering sand and gravel,
Okay,
driving on 3rd Street up and taking Verbunker.
gotcha. Okay,
And I think that they're a little above our weight class
okay.
They're hauling for?
for the county or for whoever's doing the contract work. I watched them.
Okay, we'll get with our police as well as the county, because they were given direct orders and a route to use, so.
And I think that, Chief Drew is on that. I
Yeah.
think that there has been a citation.
Okay.
Check.
Go ahead, Sue.
I'm just gonna comment that I followed a truck the other day down 4th Street, so I will verify that, yes, there's been more than one,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I'll get you, we'll dig into that. We talked to Siren, nothing further there. We said, the DMI order, I sent a memorandum yesterday. Right now, the fines and forfeitures have totaled at today $40,000. So, we will continue to press using our legal team on that, and, but
When they
still,
gonna-
there's been
when
no
they gonna pay?
correspondence. No admittance, no correspondence, no official, other than they received the mail.
We could get like a taxi meter, put in the front lobby.
Put it right here.
Yeah.
It ticks up like the census. Village budget execution, no issues there, no concerns there. We had actually an uptick of 45,000 in additional revenue we didn't expect. Permits, police fines, some parking violations. Sadly, a lot more people using our cemetery, paying for it. So a lot more money is coming in that we weren't expecting. So that's good when a lot of communities are dealing with COVID decreases in income. We're actually up and above what we were expecting. We submitted for a $15,000 recycle grant for our recycle program, so we should be seeing that from the state, no issues with that. We have started our annual budgeting at the staff level, so the next thing that the FHR committee will see is a consolidated staff recommended 2021 budget, and then we'll start the ball rolling by departments, by committees at the next FHR meeting. But you'll at least get the start point from all the staff that I'd be able to pen and ink and nub down to what the guidance I gave them, the left and right limits, and then we'll start the process.
If I may, sir?
Sir?
I still feel strongly that the first should not be individual committees kicking it off. I think it's very important, as we've done in last year's, is call it a committee of the whole or whatever, that all 7 of us be advised where we stand before they go out and really get serious, and we break down to individual committees. I just think
Yes.
that's good.
So I'm gonna present it to the FHR.
That's proper.
That's the start point.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll do committee of the whole after that. I got you, okay. The CARE Act tied to COVID money, we have a submission of over $10,000 in reimbursements from the state. Right now, the approval rate is over 98% when the municipalities submit for these funds. So I feel very comfortable, the additional cleaning, the additional supplies, a few board meetings that we had that we talked specifically COVID type stuff, we're able to write off that stuff and get reimbursement for it. All the shelters that got canceled, we actually get money for that because they were canceled based on the shelter in place. So I think we can recoup a good amount of money. The total that the community is authorized per the state is 30,000. So right now, we got a ticker going that it's about 10 to 15 right now. It goes all the way to the end of October. Finished my initial performance counseling is what I'm calling it on all village employees. That was a good meeting we had on 3 August. Basically set a tone to them of the expectations on uniform, wear, dealing as a government worker, a village employee, how they deal with the public. Very well received. They appreciated that we all heard one voice of the expectations moving forward. So I felt very, very good about that. They all signed their counseling, so they have a start point. So it's a good way that moving forward, I have it documented that you knew the rules, now we're moving forward. And I don't expect any problems with it. I did get with the Tech College, Mid-State Tech College. They have a work-study program that is no cost to the village. It's for students that are trying to get credit hours towards a degree or hours of educational credit. They're willing to offer administrative help, work in our police department for administrative paperwork for the criminal justice guys. So we can get 4 to 5, 20 hours a week students for periods of time that can be quasi-village employees. The school pays them, the school covers them with insurance, the school covers them with liability. I think it's a great way to expand our capability for coming to committee meetings, doing the administrative paperwork, and it gets a great amount of our local kids a little sense of municipal, government, and if they have an interest in it moving forward. So we'll move forward on that. I should see the response back from the school in the September timeframe, and they'll tell us how many have signed up for it. Sir?
Excellent program. And if you could keep Dana chair of the FHR abreast of that.
Sure.
And Dana, if you decide that we should get the committee together, then it'll be your call.
Okay.
Working with the Bueller's, Marshall Bueller and the Alexander House, digging into a village logo. You know, Nacusa's got one, Rapid's got one, we ain't got one. We got one sign up there by the park that shows a river, Port Edwards, but there's no official logo for all our documentation. That's all we say on all our official correspondence, Village of Port Edwards. So, gonna be working with them. The school has offered assistance with their arts department to craft something, kinda like a state seal.
You ever thought about using the diagram in the badge or the
For the police?
police fire
Yes, so
patch?
we're gonna incorporate some of that. We're gonna
Okay.
get the historical folks to give us some documentation, and then we'll present to either total or individual committees some recommended courses of action of what it should look like, and then we'll all just vote on it. And then we can kind of brand it, put it out there, mark our borders, mark our documentation, and I think it's a good way to just build some community pride towards, we got more history than a lot of our comrades around here.
Have
We're
the
not
citizens
fully
in on
using
that,
it.
make
Sure,
suggestions
yeah.
to you.
Yes.
That patch is highly sought by
Yep.
collectors of police or memorabilia.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been asked by multiple people to get them because
I still got 100 of the,
Yeah.
what Chief Woolwalls had done on a new patch, and that's more artistic than the new one.
More to follow on that once we start getting some artwork to show folks and discuss. Village Employee Handbook was handed out to the FHR committee as a draft. We're still mulling it around as staff. Basically, a one-stop shop to codify all our rules, regulations, perks and privileges in one document instead of some random stuff that we've been dealing with. So we're working on that. Got a lot of community interest in helping us craft our holiday decoration committee, kinda, sorta. I think last year, you all were here, last year the word I got was not a lot of some decorations were put up, but not a lot of events. We didn't do a lot, we didn't do a lighting, and we didn't do certain things. So I think an opportunity was lost there. There's a lot of people that say because of this COVID thing, this may be a way to show some community pride, spruce up the place. We got over $50,000 worth of stuff from Rapids, nice big holiday decorations. They're in our storehouse, so I think working with these citizens, all voluntary, we'll put together what decorations we should put out, where we should put out. Do we want to do a community tree lighting? Do we want to do close off Main Street, do little cubicles? And I know it's a crappy time of the year, but whatever we can offer, and then try to build some camaraderie during that holiday season. So more to follow on that after the citizens come together and what their recommendations are. So we talked about the veterans organizations, getting a lot of feedback from our local veterans organizations to assist us so we don't have to spend a dime from tax rolls on a possible veterans park or some type of memorial. Census, we're hovering at 83%, very good rate when it comes to reply rate for our citizens. Extremely high for the region here, so looking good on that. We'll continue to put that word out. You should start seeing next month actual census takers going door to door. So all the online stuff is basically wrapping up now, but then there's gonna be physical contacts of these 300 or so people that they haven't submitted anything. They'll go straight to their houses, their households, and try to do it in person. And we'll see how that goes. And then obviously I gave you the most current with Wood County COVID numbers. Just to put it all in context, I gave you the state numbers, I gave you the Wood County numbers. So as a state, we are about a 6% positive rate, but a little misleading because once they're positive, then they can either relapse or stay positive or get off the rolls and become not positive anymore. So the recidivism rate is only 1% for Wisconsin. All right at 1%. That means they're still active. After they tested positive, they get a little treatment and it goes away. For Wood County, it's less than 0.5%. It's a 3% positive rate, less than 0.5%. Keeping track of those numbers, making sure we're doing all the proper support to Wood County, whatever they put out. We're trying to be in line with that. Just for your information, in Port Edwards proper, we had 8 positive cases, and 2 are still what I'm calling hot, active. They're still live cases. Those individuals have been identified by the county. They treat them, they're getting them the proper care, but it is definitely not as bad as our sister Coosa Rapids for sure. Larger numbers, a lot more active cases, and a lot more need for care there. So the county's doing us good work with giving us that information. I will wrap it up with that, unless there's any specific questions on the report.
Nope.
I hope it's a little bit more comprehensive to help you put in context all the stuff that goes on with all your departments. So that's all I got.
You want to take your motion to approve sale of property?
You're exactly right. So in your packet, I apologize, this is what came up late, or very late in the day with the PIT committee. Basically, ERCO is wanting to purchase, if you look at the map on page, what is that, 34? 30, yeah. There's a sliver of ERCO, there's a sliver of the rail yard, parcel number 270000928. It basically goes right down by the rail spur, and then it goes across Port Edwards, bounds into Nakusa. There's a little square down there. So Nakusa's having to chime in on this. And all ERCO is wanting to do is purchase this from Domtar, basically own that property because Domtar owns it now, and they're reaching out to both communities, Nakusa and us, because it requires a stamp on the certified plat signed by the president representing the board. So hence I got to bring it up at this type of form.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. I will call for a motion to approve the sale of the property between ERCO and Domtar that straddles municipal boundaries. And that was made by Duncan, approved by Grundon. Is there discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. And then
You'll take
the final one from the treasurer is a motion to approve an operator's license, pretty cut and dry. The individual passed all the tests. This is working at the AMCO out the road here.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve operator's license for Nathan Bogdan, BK Oil Incorporated, Amico, valid through June 30. It's made by trustee Grundon, second by trustee Duncan. Discussion? Hearing no request to speak, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under item 12, I just have to make a comment of getting calls at home since the work on Seneca Road has been starting. And they're requesting police presence, and they're not seeing police presence up in the 4th Street area, Tyler Avenue area, which has now become the cutoff for when they go down Port Road, down Seneca, down 4th. And I would ask all of you, next time you're going anywhere near there, turn onto Tyler Avenue, heading west to 4th Street, and just look at the pavement. It is quite obvious of all the shadow marks of heavy traffic that's using that road is a shortcut, okay? And I asked the people, I said, well, I'll let the police know, and they said, we haven't seen the police. You know, and I just don't think that's proper, you know, and I will make an official presentation to you to take to your committee, because my past experience with that department, I don't want to talk directly to the police, you know what I mean? Because they might think that I'm trying to be active duty. But I guess that there should be no call for that. You know, it's just like people miss picking up the leaves in the fall or something. We all hear about that rather quickly, and I think this is a little bit more serious. So that's, I just wanted to mention that, and if that's pretty much in part what I would like to speak with you.
One alibi, this is the correspondence to the entire board. Sorry, I missed it on my section there. That's why I wanted to just take a minute. This is the 6th Street Road issue. I'm on it. We're getting more information about it. It's going to come up to the CERT committee next week to give you some more details on fulfilling the contract that this village signed 3 years ago concerning completion of 6th Street. They made a payment. We wrote a contract. We signed a contract, but we haven't come to full fruition on our part of it. So more to follow on my part as I dig into it. It'll come to CERC, and then we'll come to a board meeting. But all the residents were very concerned that they keep hearing different stories. That's why they wrote this letter to all parties. And it's a very interesting property. You all know it. It's just surrounded by village property. So they're kind of, their voice is kind of lost in the sauce because everything around them is village stuff, and we don't have a concern with it. They have a concern with it because they live there, and the road's not complete. So more to follow.
Didn't we have a discussion on that? Didn't Ben bring that up, that we're waiting to?
Isn't that our friend from Toma that initially, or am I in the
I
wrong property?
can't, I don't know.
Curb and gutter, that was like a wave,
Yeah, that's been replaced.
but I mean,
Yeah.
is that the section of street we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sixth Street up here.
Right, so, yeah, the gutter was or curb was the initial problem, it was terrible. But now the road is,
The road's not complete, that's all.
No.
Like I say, the CERC will take it on and we'll give them a better information or that, I drove out there with Ben, we met the citizens, we walked the
Okay.
ground.
I just-
Court
Yes,
by now, I
there's
think,
some-
is out of it already.
Yeah,
okay, so
there's some-
he's got no, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
he was out and, well,
okay, thank you.
Trustee comments? Yes, sir.
I did receive a phone call from a resident about this range line behind the airport, right? I'll bring it up at the CERC meeting, but I just want it noted right now. Do you want me to call that resident back, call and left a message?
Let's
I don't know if
go.
anybody else has received any calls.
I don't know.
I
what
think
you're
it's always
speaking
good to
of.
call residents back, especially if you tell them you're gonna bring it up at Sue's committee.
There's, and Tiara's asking about Rangeline Road. It's the road to the
Right, I know where it
west.
is, but I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
what the issue is.
Well,
Potholes.
whether.
Big ones.
That's pretty much it.
It's a road that needs a lot of fixing, and we get absolutely 1% use out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
So that's the,
And for the old timers, it's called, used to be called Golf Course Road unofficially.
Something for, your guys's, I don't know if this would be CERC or PIT. If we can search for grants or something to work on our bike trail, it's rough.
yeah, that was the.
Part of the
focus,
grant,
really,
obviously, but-
Yeah, of the grant that, Eric and Ben worked on, so I would agree, I think ours is the worst, actually, of Nakusa
Yeah.
and Rapids, I agree with you.
Yeah, we try to avoid ports. We go straight out for Bunker and then
Well,
up.
that's not nice.
It's not a comfy ride.
I understand what she's saying, though, totally.
I mean, I'm thankful that we have a paved path, but it's
Not
reached
good
its
shape.
life.
Used to be a railroad track.
Mhm.
We'll add that to the circuit agenda.
Exactly.
Finding
Okay,
money may be a-
oh, I'm sorry, what? You have
Well,
something
I'm
else?
making an aside anyway, I said finding money may be another challenge, but we'll
I think that'll be a problem finding money for a lot of agencies and governments in the near future.
yeah.
Well, most of that would have been taken care of legacy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 13, as you will know, everything's spelled out. The village administrator is Johnny on the spot, so take a few moments to look at it. Any problems? That follows our standard procedure when we gotta meet, or when we would like to meet. Hearing no suggested changes, I will say that we will be
Mr.
meeting
President?
on those 5 dates, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm not on the committee, but are we squeezing FHR too tightly with a half hour?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
I asked Ray that today.
Okay.
He said it a little more, I think he said, no, looks good. I got 3 words.
We got it done in 33 minutes, and the only reason it took that long is we ended up having a discussion regarding property inspections that took up 7 minutes.
Oh, David.
I just don't want any committees to feel
Oh,
rushed.
no.
And I know your style, but I just don't want any committees to.
As long as discussion is not being hampered. Yes, Stuart.
I have one more question, I'm just thinking, looking at Ray, do we need to sign papers for the meetings we attended?
Oh, yeah, we didn't get you one of those meeting sheets. I would suggest that you send an email or stop in and see Diane.
Yeah.
That's my fault. I should have picked up on that she was gonna Because last year on election day, I brought the sheets over.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Or call Ray and he can give you the dates, or give the dates to Diane.
She has her system down.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Motion by trustee Grundon.
Yes.
Second by trustee Duncan.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.